a little disclaimer, you guys. I will be speaking and not whispering for my reading videos from this video moving forward, basically, just because the book that I'm reading is a dialogue, and I think that it'll be easier to follow if I'm speaking and not whispering. So, yeah. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Conversations with God, which is a book that I will be reading. I've already uploaded one video where I read or took you guys from page 1 to 11, I think. So today we'll be continuing with chapter 1. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, do check out my first video so you can understand what's happening before you watch this video. Let's get into it. This is the divine dichotomy. This is the divine mystery which until now only the most sublime minds could understand. I have revealed it for you here in a way that more can understand. This was the message of Book 1, and this basic truth you must understand. You must deeply know if you are to understand and know the even more sublime truths to come here in Book 3. Yet let me now get to one of those more sublime truths, for it is contained in the answer of the second part of your question. I was hoping we were going to get back to that part of my question. How is the parent loving the child if he says or does what is best for the child, even if he has to thwart the child's own will to do it? Or does the parent demonstrate the truest love by letting the child play in the traffic? This is a wonderful question, and it's the question asked by every parent in some form or another since parenting began. The answer is the same for you as a parent as it is for me as God. So what is the answer? Patience, my son, patience. All good things come to those who wait. Have you never heard of that? Yeah. My father used to say it, and I hated it. I can understand that. But do have patience with yourself, especially if your choices are not bringing you what you think you want. The answer to the second part of your question, for example, you say that you want the answer, but you are not choosing it. You know you're not choosing it because you do not experience having it. In truth, you have the answer and have had it all along. You simply are not choosing it. You are choosing to believe you do not know the answer, and so you do not. Yes, you went over this too in Book 1. I have everything I choose to have right now, including a complete understanding of God. Yet I will not experience that I have it until I know that I do. Precisely. You've put it perfectly. But how can I know that I do until I experience that I do? How can I know something I haven't experienced? Wasn't there a great mind who said, all knowing is experience? He was wrong. Knowing does not follow experience. It precedes it. In this half, the world has it backwards. So you mean that I have the answer to the second part of my question? I just don't know that I do? Exactly. Yet if I don't know that I do, then I don't. That's the paradox, yes. I don't get it, except I do. Indeed. So how can I get to this place of knowing that I know something if I don't know that I know? To know that you know, act as if you do. You mentioned something about that in Book 1 also. Yes. A good place to start here would be to recap what's gone before in the previous teaching. and you just happen to be asking the right questions, allowing me to summarize in short form at the beginning of this book the information we discussed in prior material in some detail. Now, in book 1, we talked about the be, do, have paradigm and how most people have it reversed. Most people believe that if you have a thing, more time, money, love, whatever, then you can finally do a thing. Write a book, take up a hobby, go on vacation, buy a home, undertake a relationship, which will allow them to be a thing, happy, peaceful, content, or in love. In actuality, they are reversing the be, do, have paradigm. In the universe, as it already is, as opposed to how you think it is, havingness does not produce beingness, but the other way around. First you be the thing called happy, or knowing, or wise, or compassionate, or whatever. Then you start doing things from that place of beingness. And soon you discover that what you are doing winds up bringing the things you've always wanted to have. The way to set this creative process, and that's what it is, the process of creation, into motion, is to look at what it is you want to have. Ask yourself what you think you would be if you had that, then go straight to being. In this way, you reverse the way you've been using the be, do, have paradigm. In actuality, set it right and work with, rather than against, the creative power of the universe. Here's a short way of stating this principle. In life, you do not have to do anything. It is all a question of what you are being. This is one of the 3 messages I will touch on again at the end of our dialogue. I will close the book with it. For now, and to illustrate this, think of a person who just knows that if he could only have a little more time, a little more money, or a little more love, he'd be truly happy. He does not get the connection between his not being very happy right now and his not having the time, money, or love he wants. That's right. On the one hand, the person who is being happy seems to have time to do everything that's really important, all the money that's needed, and enough love to last a lifetime. He finds he has everything he needs to be happy by being happy to begin with. Exactly. Deciding ahead of time what you choose to be produces that in your experience. To be or not to be, that's the question. Precisely. Happiness is a state of mind, and like all states of mind, it produces itself in physical form. There's a statement for a refrigerator magnet. All states of mind reproduce themselves. But how can you be happy to begin with, or be anything you are seeking to be? More prosperous, for instance, or more loved, if you're not having what you think you need in order to be that. Act as if you are, and you will draw it to you. What you act as if you are, you become. In other words, fake it until you make it. Something like that, yes. Only you can't really be faking. Your actions have to be sincere. Everything you do out of sincerity, or the benefit of the action is lost. This is not because I won't reward you. God does not reward and punish, as you know. But natural laws require the body, mind, and spirit to be united in thought, word, and action for the process of creation to work. You cannot fool your mind. If you are insincere, your mind knows it, and that's that. You've just ended any chance that your mind can help you in the creative process. You can, of course, create without your mind. It's just a great more difficult. You can ask your body to do something your mind doesn't believe, And if your body does it long enough, your mind will begin to let go of its former thought about that and create a new thought. Once you have a new thought about a thing, you're well on your way to creating it as a permanent aspect of your being, rather than something you're just acting out. This is doing things the hard way, and even in such instances, the action must be sincere. Unlike what you can do with people, you cannot manipulate the universe. So here we have a very delicate balance. The body does something in which the mind does not believe, yet the mind must add the ingredient of sincerity to the body's action for it to work. How can the mind add sincerity when it does not believe in what the body is doing? By taking out the selfish element of personal gain. How? The mind may not be able to sincerely agree that the actions of the body can bring you that which you choose, but the mind seems very clear that God will bring good things through you to another. Therefore, whatever you choose for yourself, give to another. Would you say that again, please? Of course. Whatever you choose for yourself, give to another. If you choose to be happy, cause another to be happy. If you choose to be prosperous, cause another to prosper. If you choose more love in your life, cause another to have more love in theirs. Do this sincerely, not because you seek personal gain, but because you really want the other person to have that, and all the things you give away will come to you. Why is that so? How does that work? The very act of you giving something away causes you to experience that you have it to give away. Since you cannot give to another something you do not now have, your mind comes to a new conclusion, a new thought about you, namely that you must have this, or you could not be giving it away. This new thought then becomes your experience. You start being that. And once you start being a thing, you've engaged the gears of the most powerful creation machine in the universe, your divine self. Whatever you are being, you are creating. The circle is complete. You'll create more and more of that in your life. It will be made manifest in your physical experience. This is the greatest secret of life. It is what Book 1 and Book 2 were written to tell you. It was all there in far greater detail. Explain to me, please, why sincerity is so important in giving to another what you choose for yourself. If you give to another as a contrivance, a manipulation meant to get something to come to you, your mind knows this. You've just given it a signal that you do not now have this. And since the universe is nothing but a big copying machine reproducing your thoughts in physical form, this will be your experience. That is, you will continue to experience not having it, no matter what you do. Furthermore, that will be the experience of the person to whom you're trying to give it. They will see that you are merely seeking to get something, that you have nothing really to offer, and your giving will be an empty gesture, seen for all the self-serving shallowness from which it springs. The very thing you sought to attract will thus push away. Yet, when you give something to another with purity of heart, because you see that they want it, need it, and should have it, then you will discover that you have it to give, and that is a grand discovery. This is true. It really works this way. I can remember once when things were not going so well in my life, holding my head and thinking that I have no more money and very little food, and that I didn't know what I was going to eat, when I was going to eat my next square meal, or how I could pay my rent. That very evening, I met a young couple at the bus station. I'd gone down to pick up a package, and there these kids were, huddled on a bench, using their coats for a blanket. I saw them and my heart went out to them. I remembered when I was young, how it was when we were kids, just skimming by and on the move like that. I walked over to them and asked them if they'd like to come over to my place and sit by a hot fire with a little hot chocolate, maybe open up the day bed and get a good night's rest. They looked up at me with eyes wide like children on Christmas morning. Well, we got to the house and I made them a meal. We all ate better that night than any of us had for quite a while. The food had always been there. The refrigerator was loaded. I just had to reach back and grab all the stuff I'd shoved back there. I made an everything in the fridge stir fry and it was terrific. I remember thinking, where did all this food come from? The next morning, I even gave the kids breakfast and sent them on their way. I reached into my pockets as I dropped them off at the bus station and gave them a $20 bill. Maybe this will help, I said, gave them a hug and sent them on their way. I felt better about my own situation all day, heck, all week, and that experience, which I have never forgotten, produced a profound change in my outlook and my understandings of life. Things got better from there. As I looked at myself in the mirror this morning, I noticed something very important. I'm still here. That's a beautiful story, and you're right. That's exactly how it works. So when you want something, give it away. You will then no longer be wanting it. You will immediately experience having it. From there on, it is only a question of degree. Physiologically, you will find it much easier to add on to than to create out of thin air. I feel I've just heard something very profound here. Can you relate this now to the second part of my question? Is there a connection? What I'm proposing, you see, is that you already have the answer to that question. Right now, you are living the thought that you do not have the answer, that if you had the answer, you would have wisdom. So you come to me for wisdom, yet I say to you, be wisdom and you will have it. And what is the fastest way to be wisdom? Cause another to be wise. Do you choose to have the answer to this question? Give the answer to another. So now I ask you the question. I'll pretend that I don't know and you give me the answer. How can the parent who pulls a child out of traffic be truly loving the child if love means that you want for the other what they want for themselves? I don't know. I know you don't, but if you thought you did, what would your answer be? Well, I'd say that the parent did want for the child what the child wanted, which was to stay alive. I'd say that the child did not want to die, but simply did not know that wandering around in traffic would cause that. So that in running out there to get the child, the parent wasn't depriving the child of the opportunity to exercise its will at all, but simply getting in touch with the child's true choice, its deepest desire. That would be a very good answer. If that's true, then you as God should be doing nothing but stopping us from hurting ourselves, for it can't be our deepest desire to do damage to ourselves. Yet we do damage to ourselves all the time, and you just sit around and watch us. I'm always in touch with your deepest desire, and always I give you that. Even when you do something that would cause you to die, if that is your deepest desire, that is what you get, the experience of dying. I never ever interfere with your deepest desire. Do you mean that when we do damage to ourselves, that is what we wanted to do? That is our deepest desire? You cannot do damage to yourselves. You are incapable of being damaged. Damage is a subjective reaction, not an objective phenomenon. You can choose to experience damage to yourselves out of any encounter or phenomenon, but that is entirely your decision. Given that truth, the answer to your question is yes. When you have damaged yourself, it's because you wanted to. But I'm speaking on a very high esoteric level, and that is not really where your question is coming from. In the sense that you mean it, as a matter of conscious choice, I would say that no. Every time you do something that damages yourself, it is not because you wanted to. The child who gets hit by a car because he wandered into the street did not want, desire, seek, consciously choose to get hit by a car. The man who keeps marrying the same kind of woman, one who is all wrong for him, packaged in different forms, does not want, desire, seek, consciously choose to keep creating bad marriages. The person who hits a thumb with a hammer could not be said to have wanted the experience. It was not desired, sought, consciously chosen. Yet, all objective phenomenon is drawn to you subconsciously. All events are created by you unconsciously. Every person, place, or thing in your life was drawn to you by you, was self-created, if you will, to provide you with the exact and perfect conditions, the perfect opportunity to experience what you next wish to experience as you go about the business of evolving. Nothing can happen. I say to you, nothing can occur in your life which is not a precisely perfect opportunity for you to heal something, create something, or experience something that you wish to heal, create, or experience in order for you to be who you really are. And who really am I? Whomever you choose to be. Whatever aspect of divinity you wish to be, that's who you are. That can change at any given moment. Indeed, it often does from moment to moment. Yet, if you want your life to settle down, to stop bringing you such a wide variety of experiences, there's a way to do that. Simply stop changing your mind so often about who you are and who you choose to be. That may be easier said than done. That is it for today's reading, you guys. So that was from page 11 to page 21, and we're still on chapter 1, which maybe we will end in like the next 2 videos, because I think it's 38 pages long. And like I said in the other video, I can't take it chapter by chapter because they're just too long, and my videos would be too long, longer than necessary. But thank you for joining me on today's reading. I hope you guys did enjoy that and did learn something new or old about God. I can't wait to see you guys in the next reading. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.